So today is a very special show on the Jack'd Up Podcast with K-Rock because I have a new friend and a new bandmate, Miss SARAH Santiago.
Hey.
Hey, Sarah, how you doing today?
Good.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you are one of the better singers in the area. In fact, you're very popular. I looked at your calendar, by the way, like the last 3 months, and you're like gigging all over the place, man. You are very, very busy.
Yeah, it's like one end of the spectrum to the other. And
how does it feel to be like that busy? Like,
honestly, it's the best thing. The last couple of years have been the most fun I've had. Going from doing something completely different to just doing what I enjoy doing has been awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very good singing, as I mentioned, and a lot of people like you. Like, you have a lot of fans. You have a lot of restaurants and bars that like have to have you. Like, you know, you got very loyal clientele, right?
Yes.
You know, when people found out that you were going to join the band, and isn't it funny how good news travels fast? Whereas, like, I only told a few people, but yet a lot of people found out. People came up to me. In fact, people on this show. There's a high level of respect of you as a person, and there's an appreciation of your voice. So, you know, you're a very special person, and you know, I am very happy, very fortunate that you decided to join us.
Yay!
You're going to be now, I think, our fourth or fifth female singer. Hopefully, our last. But we are so excited to have you.
I'm so excited to be involved. This is going to be so much fun. The collaboration of music, all different styles. You know, you have a good, you know, mix of music, but then even bringing some country into it. But I like the country rock. I like to, you know, stick with the dance.
You picked a couple Gretchen Wilson songs that are fantastic. And it's funny because I never met Gretchen Wilson, but in a previous life, I used to do novelty guitars that would be for charities. And I was down in Fort Myers, and I did a Gretchen Wilson-themed guitar with her picture on it. It was wrapped. And she signed it when she was in town. And it ended up going for $6,500 at a silent auction at this big cancer awareness party. So I always was grateful for her. And if I ever get a chance to meet her, I'm going to tell her that story. But you sing her beautifully, man.
Thanks. I actually got close once that her mother came out one day. I was at Moondoggies or something playing a gig for the owner. And the mother was there. Gretchen Wilson's mom was there. She filmed me and sent it to Gretchen. Like, hey, she sounds just like you. I was like, oh. It was like a really cool compliment.
That is very cool. You also sing Stevie Nicks really well.
Oh, yeah. I love Stevie Nicks. Yes.
And you can also, the great thing about you is you can also do a lot of male vocal stuff, but you make it your own. You know what I'm saying? Like, you put your own Sarah vibe on it.
Yeah. You make it, you make it your own. You kind of, you take a song, like I would say there's a specific amount of songs I used to be encouraged to sing, and I never really wanted to do it. And then when I started singing it, I kind of made it my own. And then I was like, oh, I love this song.
Well, let's tell the viewers, you know, how did you get into music in the first place?
Gosh, since I was a little girl, I'd sing all the time. So my mom used to play the guitar. And as a little girl, growing up with a mom that, you know, loved to sing as well.
So she encouraged you
at
a young age. That's important.
Yes.
And then at what point in your life did you realize that you had a talent and that perhaps maybe you might be better than the kids at school?
Probably high school. I had a really great professor, Mark Reeves, awesome, amazing person, and really cultivated like this world of just opportunity to not only, you know, teach us choral, but, you know, encourage us to really back each other up as vocals. So I had a lot of different opportunities in high school that you normally wouldn't get in high school. I would say high school for me was more like college than college was, because I went to college after, and we were singing like the most odd music for college. And in high school, we would just have all of these awesome songs that Mark Reeves would pick out that fit the voices. So it was really cool. Did you ever want to try out for any of those competitions? You know how like, you know, The Voice, American Idol. Before that, there was another show. I can't quite remember the name of it, but ever have the itch to do any of that stuff? I tried once. It was a long time ago. Gosh, I think it was one of
Star Search or something.
It was when Kelly Clarkson won that year. I went to Miami, stayed out all night on a deck. I picked the wrong song, didn't get in, but never really, you know, had the opportunity to go back and try out for another competition.
Because you would have been fantastic on that show.
It would have been fun.
Because you know how they make them sing different genres? Like you have to do their show tune night, then there's like Motown night, and then there's like country night.
Yeah.
You would have been able to thrive in all those different environments.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's song choice, and now that I know, it's like I would do it differently if I was younger. I would do it differently. But
now you're a solo performer, so you'll play in the fancy restaurants, right? You're doing like some of the better restaurants in the area, and you're doing tracks. You're singing all types of music, right?
Yeah.
And you're entertaining the diners and the guests there. But then you're also doing some more casual kind of places, like more beachy kind of vibe places, right?
Yes.
Which we all love, the beach bars down here,
Absolutely.
which is fantastic. And then in the past, you've been in rock bands, right? So tell us about your experience in some of your earlier rock bands.
Like the very first band I was in was called Longboat Sound. Oh my gosh, that was so long ago. But they were a bunch of guys that loved to play, and we would do just country clubs and whatever. And then I joined another band. Let's see, I think it was Vertigo that I was in for a while. And then I was in Fifth Avenue and the Igniters at about the same time. These are all
great band names, by the way.
That was really cool. I mean, we had a blast. And all the bands, we had like a bunch of different venues we would play. I guess in Vertigo, we would do Hana Luana down in Nokomis to the Gilligans out on the Key. And with the Igniters, we would do, big clubs. And then like, I don't know, where was that? That was at it was at an air hangar. And the Igniters, their band actually played with Bertie Higgins. Like they toured with Bertie Higgins. So that was like a really cool.
Were these like Sarasota guys?
Well, Tampa.
Because Sarasota, as you know, part of Tampa, the market, I'll say Sarasota, Tampa, St. Pete, but there's a lot of musicians here, man. And Kelly and I were just talking about that. Kelly Schaefer was just on before you. And there's so many good musicians here. And it's like, it's incredible.
Oh, absolutely. Like every band that I joined had such incredible talent. I enjoyed being able to collaborate the music and, even with, Jack'd Up, since we've had a couple rehearsals.
We've had some great rehearsals, yeah.
Great rehearsals.
So the people are going to be surprised because we got some new stuff coming out.
Yes.
Now, do you ever get nervous when you sing, whether it's for a dozen people or in front of 1,000 people?
Only when I'm not prepared. If I'm not prepared, I get nervous.
So not being prepared, meaning like you probably don't know you haven't memorized the lyrics? I
get nervous from memorizing lyrics. Yes. I think that's one of my, and all the band members will be like, yep, we know. Like lyrics, as long as I have some sort of reference, sometimes I'll forget the very first lyric. And once somebody says, hey, this is the lyric, the rest of it comes.
Well, some of the country songs that we're covering have a lot of lyrics and a lot of names. But here's the thing. In today's world, and I'll ask you your opinion on this. Here's my opinion first. I think it's perfectly okay in today's modern world for a singer to have a tablet or a phone up on stage. Now, some people disagree and they say, no, that's not professional. They should memorize every single lyric. But there are times when we'll play obscure songs. Like somebody may shout out, hey, could you guys do Moondance? Now, I'm just using Moondance. We happen to be playing that song, but let's just say Brown Eyed Girl or some other Van Morrison song. And they really, really, really want to hear it. Well, then I'd say, well, look, just look up the lyrics and let's go do it. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's perfect. Yeah, because I mean, I feel like in the past, a lot of bands got complacent with the set list and then never veered from it or never really grew more. And the more you grow your list, the more variety you have each week, especially if you're going to play out more than just once or twice a month. Once or twice a month, you could get away with doing the same set list. But if you're going to do that continuously, and then those same group of people come out, and yeah, you've got your staple songs, but if you don't change it or have variety, sometimes it gets stagnant.
I agree.
You know
what I'm thinking about doing for Jack'd Up? We're going to have 5 sets, an A, B, C, D, E. And we know that we play either 2 or 3 a night, but we'll be so well versed that we can do set A, C, and E in one venue, and then do B, D, and E in another venue, have enough music. Because to your point earlier, there's certain songs that the band's always going to want to do. There's certain songs that the crowd's always going to want to hear. So keep those in your,
Oh, absolutely.
Right? But we've had strange requests, man. We've had requests for Stairway to Heaven. We've had requests for Freebird. We've had requests for any song you can imagine. And I hate saying no to somebody, Now, there's some songs we just can't do. I mean, if somebody wants to hear Rush, I'm like, yeah, sorry, we can't do it. We can't physically do it. But Sweet Home Alabama is a great example. I think it's a great song, but it's so freaking played out, and I'm sick of playing it. But if somebody came to me and they were sincere, and they're like, "Could we?"
Hey, here's $100. Can you play this song?
Well, that's a whole different story. What? Yeah, there's money. That's right. Then I'll play Rush, right? But what are your thoughts on that?
Actually, what's funny is like I did have this experience at Crescent Club. Some guy who was so funny though, like he goes, "Can you play?" And I'd already played the song, like I'd already done the song. He goes, "Well, if I give you $100, can I sing it with you?" I'm like, "Well, it's not karaoke, but with the Benjamin, let's do it." And so we ended the whole night, and I got $200 that night from the same,
Well, yeah, because that kind of venue, people are having fun. And you're there to entertain them.
Yeah,
it's not like you're playing at the Van Wezel, but to your point, our question now. So when you're going to the Crescent Club, or let's say you're going to a nice restaurant, you come in with a game plan, right? So you'll have like, okay, this is what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to break it into 2 or 3 sets, right? Is that how you do it?
Nope.
Or are you just winging it and just doing what you feel?
I 100% wing it every single night. You never know what kind of crowd you're going to get.
Okay.
But that's only because I'd been doing, originally when I started up, I had a group of songs that I would start out with here's some things. And then it just kind of, it sticks with you. Hey, I'm going to start with this. I'll start with Stevie Nicks and then I'll go into something else. But, if you've got an older crowd or, someone who is going to probably benefit from like listening to something like Crazy, then I'll start with a Norah Jones tune instead of Stevie Nicks and tone it down a little bit and then go into some Frank Sinatra maybe and then start it like the second set with the Stevie Nicks and the kind of easy listening. But I mean, every venue that I've played at they're so different. And then when I do kind of country clubs, there are some that really just love country. So then every country song that I can think of, I'll try to open, or do something like that. And there's songs, obscured songs that I'm like, oh no, you really want me to do that one? And then I'm like, okay, I guess you want a line dance. Let's go. But,
Well, do you consider yourself to be now an entertainer? Because there's a difference, right? There's the musician, there's the performer, and then there's the entertainer. And I think that I personally have gone through all three. Like I started out as a musician, learning my bass scales, learning how to sing. And then I went to become a performer where now I would take this out and I would perform it. Now as an entertainer, I'm doing what the audience wants. So if they want me to do a Michael Jackson song, even though I don't care for that, or, like if I had my way, I'd be in a Van Halen tribute band. But because Jack'd Up is a band where we want to get paid and make money and make people happy, we do a variety of 70s, 80s, 90s, which people have grown to love. And that's cool. I dig it, So I'm entertaining them, right?
Yeah.
It's no longer about my ego. It's no longer about what I want to do. It's
kind of a mesh. I would say it's more of like a mixture between entertainment and performer. And like, yeah, you're going to perform because there are songs in there that you love doing. So you're going to perform it. But then there's songs that, like you said, you're going to have to just kind of suck it up and say, hey, all right, Sweet Caroline, one more time,
Well, what's your policy on that? So like, let's say for an example, you mentioned earlier that you did a song and then you were going on to the repertoire, the other stuff. And then all of a sudden someone say, hey, could you play that again?
Honestly, it was such a great song, It was such a good song. Everyone's like singing along anyway.
Which song was it again?
Oh, it was Bon Jovi. Gosh, what was
Living on a Prayer, You Give Love a Bad Name?
No.
Wanted Dead or Alive?
Just a Small Town Girl. See, I'm bad with names, but I know the song.
Well, that's Journey. Don't Stop Believing.
Oh, that's Journey. Okay, no, we did Journey. We did the Bon Jovi before, and then we did the Journey. But I think I did Journey twice, and then they started all singing along. So it was
they're
all sing along.
You can't go wrong with Journey, right? I mean, Journey is just fantastic. And
can't go wrong with either one.
When we do Don't Stop Believing and that piano starts, and then you get that chill. Like I still get that chill when I hear that piano kick in. Mm-hmm. People love it in the audience. They love it so much.
You know what else they love? They love asking me to sing I Will Always Love You.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because you have a clip,
yes,
which is on YouTube. But I'm sure if you went to Google and you just typed in your name and you said, Van Wezel or I Will
SARAH
Always Love You,
Santiago
it'll
sings
send you to
with
YouTube.
David Foster.
Yeah, it'll send you to YouTube where it lives. Mm-hmm. And I've shown that video to so many people now, my family, my friends, my fans. And it's a great story. Why don't you tell the story about how that all came to fruition?
Well, we got tickets to go see David Foster in concert, the most prolifically profound, amazing producer of all time, I would say.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
He has a record of Grammys, Like
exactly
100 Grammys or something crazy.
So talk about getting nervous. Now that was one of those times where I was like literally shaking, nervous. Well, my boyfriend and I went, and in the middle of the concert, David Foster stops everything and says, well, if you think you can sing, stand up. So of course my boyfriend's like, nudging me, stand up, stand up. So I stood up, and they brought me the microphone in the audience. And next thing I know, I'm talking with David Foster in the middle of this concert. I had no idea he was going to do that. My boyfriend had this all planned out. And he's like, if he ever does ask, sing I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, because he produced it for Whitney, all of her, and that's another reason I was like excited about going to this concert, because he did produce all the Whitney songs for The Bodyguard. So when I started saying that I was going to do I Will Always Love You, the whole crowd was like, what? Like, oh, there's like a huge hush. And then the moment he asked me, where do you want to start? You want to do the big, the middle or the end or the big thing? And then he asked me about the third verse, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't even remember the first verse, let alone the third.
You were nervous.
I was so nervous. Yeah. It was crazy. And then,
but it was kind of cute. Like you were like you were thinking, you could tell you were thinking, like, as you were talking, like, I hope, right?
Yes. So I ended up, getting one of the most incredible standing ovations that I'd, in a musician's career. Then people are asking me at the end if I was planted, and I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm just Sarah from Sarasota. So from then on, it just kind of like propelled me into like this whole different, I guess, people knowing who Sarah Santiago is and coming out to the venues.
And you got a great name. I mean, Sarah Santiago is a very cool name to have as a performer.
Thanks.
Right? And he actually nicknamed you SS. So he called you SS.
He is SS.
That's his name.
Yeah,
no, it's a great little clip, and it still gives me chills when I hear it, because, like you said, you hit it out of the park, and it was one of those videos where somebody filmed it behind you. Like, first, how did you get that video? Like, who gave that to you? Because
it was my boyfriend's boss's wife.
Okay, so you knew she was sitting back there.
Well, we knew they came, and we had dinner earlier. Then we went to the venue, and then she was like, I don't think you were allowed to, but she did it anyway. I love her to death.
Because the sound was good. The sound quality was good.
She was sitting back there. She's like, I'm getting this.
Like she had stereo sound coming through the phone. I mean, it picked it up nicely.
Well, and then the sound guy, I can't even believe this. At the Founders Club that weekend, I sang at the Founders Club that Friday night, and I'm telling the story. And next thing I know, some gentleman approaches me saying, well, my son was doing sound for David Foster. That was who did your sound. I was like, that's incredible. I was like, what a small world.
I know, right?
To like run into people randomly.
Sure.
It was really cool. And even then I was going out to see my keyboard player, Eddie. And I guess he played at this little Cafe Amore, and I was sitting next to this lady, and this lady looked at me and she's like, talking with me, and she's like, oh, you can sit here until our other guest was coming, and he never showed up. So by the end of the night, I'm singing I Will Always Love You with Eddie, and at the very end of the night, he's like, hey, Sarah, you know who you were sitting next to? I said, no. He goes, that's Pink's mom. So she filmed me and sent it to Pink, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
But, these are great stories, because this is like how stuff happens, man. Like Kelly was just telling me how Brian Johnson from AC/DC came into a bar and heard them singing, so asked for a demo. 2 or 3 days later, calls up Kelly and says, hey, I want to produce you.
That's crazy.
And then it took off like a rocket ship. So that could happen. Like Pink would have gotten your demo.
Well, and then thereafter, like maybe not even a year after, I'm sitting at Casariano's, where I'm at every Sunday. And this gentleman, I was saying, I Will Always Love You, because they were requesting it. And a lot of the people that worked, song. Yes, but a lot of people that worked at the Van Wezel started coming to Casariano's, which is their favorite place to go to. So I sang it, and this guy came up and he goes, you would have made Whitney proud, and shook my hand. And I looked at him like, and how would you know? It was actually Dawn Davenport, who worked with Whitney on her first 2 albums. And that was just incredibly, like, what a compliment of somebody who actually worked with Whitney.
Sure.
Obviously it was before that whole album came out, but to even be, in her world was just incredible. And then he came back a few more times, and just what an honor, like sitting in the presence of somebody who was.
How great was Whitney? She was
working
so
with
good.
her. She was
a freak. She was so good. Like
everything about Whitney is amazing.
What other songs by her do you like to sing?
Oh gosh. Well, I don't always do it, but sometimes I'll do Run to You. I Want to Dance with Somebody. Of course, that's her staple song. But yeah,
Did you ever hear her do the Star Spangled Banner?
Yes.
I have it on my iTunes, and I listen to it from time to time because it still gives me the chills.
The most incredible.
Right? Probably the greatest version that I know of. I think Marvin Gaye's close because he did one in Philly back in the 70s in his style.
Yeah.
But the Whitney's, I think, is the standard. It's like the greatest.
She's amazing. Yeah. I aspire to be, and just even a small part in her world would be, amazing.
Why do you suppose it is that you haven't already made it to a different level? Like, for an example, you could sing so good and you've meeting these types of producers and you're working with these kind of people. Like, how come you don't have your own record label right now or your own album?
Well, it was tough. I have 2 kids that I raised. They're now 19 and 17. So, I mean, when you're in mom world, it's a whole different world when you've got responsibilities and you can't just up and leave.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was the greatest thing raising those kids. And now that they're almost, and like my 17-year-old is very independent at this point. So I'm
looking forward to meeting him.
Yeah, he's a cool kid.
Because I'm going to need him to help carry some lights and set up our
and he would do it too. Yeah, he's great.
We'll teach him how to be a roadie.
Definitely.
Well, good. Well, how can people see your schedule? Like, if somebody wants to see you do your solo act, how can they find you?
SARAHSantiago.com. Yeah.
Okay. And do you ever use Go Tonight?
Yeah, actually. Okay, so I monthly have Sarasota Sally post all of my gigs wherever I am. It's Vivian.
Through Facebook.
Through different platforms. She's got a diners club, Sarasota Sally. Vivian is awesome.
Yeah, I've spoken to Vivian several times.
She's a sweetheart.
I'm going to give her a shirt, a Jack'd Up shirt.
She would love it.
She's great. No, she's cool.
Yeah,
she's a big fan. She loves you, man. I think you're like her daughter, like the way she talks about you.
That's what everyone says. Anytime she'll come out and see me sing, they're like, "Is that your daughter?"
That's great. And you know what's cool about you? You have a reputation. Because I did a background check on you. I don't know if you know this, but I asked around about you. And the thing about you is you're sweet to everybody. And you go around and talk to all your audience members. And you're very good like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't hide and have a Jack and diet and sit in the corner. Like you're working the crowd.
No, I have to go say hi.
So that's a good attribute you're sweet like that. You know what I'm saying? And you're accessible.
Yeah. Well, I love meeting people from all over. I mean, I've met people from, all different parts of the country and Canada, and like they come in from all, different areas of the world. And it's very, really, really awesome to meet people who they give you their take on the music, or they'll give you advice or say, "Hey, I've got an entire like a screenshot songs that people are like, you would sound good at this song." I'd say there's at least 50 in there that I got to go through and listen to. But I do enjoy, meeting, diverse people with different kinds of tastes of music. So,
well, people can see you with Jack'd Up, and they can go to jackedupband.com. They can also go to Go Tonight and type in Jack'd Up. So they can see all the dates you're going to be with us. And then when you're not with us, you're doing solo work at some of the better restaurants and bars in the area. So you're very busy, and people have a chance to come. They can come see you, and they can hear you.
Yep. And then they can also have original stuff. I have original music that...
We're going to debut that stuff soon.
I hope so. That'll be
one
great.
song you have.
Yes.
That we worked on. And maybe I shouldn't tell the title yet because it's a work in progress for us. But we're learning this song.
Yes.
And let's work on it in the next studio session because Jared needs to get to hear it. It's a great song. It really is. When I first heard it, I was like, oh my God, this could be on the radio. That's how good it is.
Well, I started doing a whole lot of more original stuff out when I got a gig at the Ringling Museum. And it was through my cousin, Jay Dodge. And he's an incredible musician as well. He's like one of the biggest supporters in this area from even when I started singing original stuff in the very beginning of my 20s. He was a huge influence on, continuing to do work like that. So he got me this he introduced me to a friend of his that hired me and a band I kind of formed together, Jamie G and Nax. And I even had my friend, let's see, who else? Roberto was there. Roberto Serini, he's the one that actually did most of all of the original stuff that you'll hear on the radio or whatever We're on Spotify. I've been on WSRZ 107.9. Shout out to, David and Meredith in the morning. They even had a segment with the Whitney thing on the radio station, which was super cool. And then huge shout out to Candy and Bruce, because Candy and Bruce are the one that kind of created this whole movement into that direction with the David Foster concert tickets. They were the ones that even told me about it. And then Bruce is always on WSRZ on Fridays, and he does their Champagne Friday little ditties. He'll make up something, put it on the radio, and then there you have it. So
there have been several people that have helped you along the way.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's been really cool.
Well, good. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for coming in. It's always a pleasure to have you, and we're looking forward to working with you some more. And then people can see you Saturday, March 1st at Clancy's.
Yep.
That's going to be your grand debut, but you're going to do something before that with us down in Fort Myers, kind of like as a little warm-up. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of really good shows that we have lined up in March and April. There's some high-profile stuff we're doing. St. Patrick's Day is a big thing. There's going to be a seafood festival in there. There's a county fair in there. There's a lot of wonderful high-profile things for you to be part of us, and you're going to jump right into it, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll everybody can see you soon.